Yeah, it means everything. To have that, responsibility, that honor, it's amazing. I'm very grateful and very thankful, that I was selected to wear that number, and I hope to live up to the standard. And when I can think about, when I was a freshman, one of the first guys I saw wear 18 was Damone Clark, and that's what I think of when I think of 18, is how he interacted. He took me under his wing a little bit as a freshman. I played a decent amount early on there, and so he was one of the guys that I felt like always lifted me up and always gave me words of encouragement and kept me going. And so I feel like whenever I want to be 18, I feel like almost kind of want to be like him a little bit. So that it's an honor, and so I'm super grateful. And I've been very specific about not sharing those type of things, and that's kind of personal for me, just what I needed to improve on. And I have been very open at times about there are obvious things that I need to do a better job of, such as taking care of the football and using my legs and things of that sort. So I feel like I've done a pretty good job of becoming a better player, and so I'm really excited for the opportunity to try and go put that on tape. Obviously, there are small and big things. I think there's both. As I've said before, just having a full season last year to be able to study and go through and make corrections on, that was kind of huge for me this offseason. And before last year, I was watching other guys do it and trying to learn from them, but having the opportunity to actually watch myself and correct myself on things like technique and also schematically, it was huge. Well, definitely. In watching that, there were also some pretty good things on tape too, as well. And so having confidence in that also, and knowing like, hey, I can improve in these areas and I can still do the same things here, and I think the product will be pretty darn good. And so, there are definitely some things that I can go back and watch and things that build my confidence up as well. It wasn't just bad things. Obviously, I'm very hard on myself and I want to be the best I can be. So I'm very stiff on the corrections that need to be made, but as I said, just also having confidence in the things that did go well last year. Yeah, it's going to be a hostile environment. It's a very special place, very storied program, and obviously, they have a really cool environment there. So I think for one, just embracing that opportunity to go into an arena like that, a place like that, and to try and silence a crowd, I guess you could say. That's kind of your mindset when you're playing a big road game. And we've played in some stadiums that are unbelievable. Texas A&M, South Carolina last year, Florida. We played in some big time places. So it's nothing new to us. But I would say that their place is one of those places. I'm fully confident in those guys. As I said before, they've done an unbelievable job stepping up, and Braylon has done an unbelievable job being the kind of the driving force of that unit, and being the center. It's almost like playing quarterback, right? You take charge and you take control of that group, and you got to communicate things and be loud and do different things. And so I think he's done an unbelievable job in leading those guys, and I think all the young guys who have had the opportunities to grow into their roles have done an awesome job, from spring to now. And so, this isn't just something that's been started the last 4 weeks. We've been building on this for the last 6 months. And so, I'm super excited for those guys, and I have full confidence in them, and I can't wait for their opportunity. For one, as I've said before, you're going to see a lot of different things. You're going to see a lot of versatility and a lot of explosiveness. I think that's one thing that when you have the amount of weapons that we do and the different body styles and body types, at receiver, at running back, at tight end even, I think you'll see a lot of different things, and I think you'll see us move the ball around well. I think you'll see a lot of different guys touch the football, and I think it'll definitely be an exciting offense to watch. Well, one thing I've always loved about Coach Sloan is he's super invested in making sure the quarterback is good with what we're doing. Even from when I had no say, when I was just my first game starting, he still, if I didn't like something, he was throwing it out. And if I wanted something, he was calling it. And so I think that's what makes Coach Sloan so special, is he understands how important it is to make sure the quarterback's comfortable with the play. And so, as you said, our relationship's very strong. I think almost he knows what I'm thinking before I even say it. And so a benefit of being here for so long, I guess you could say, and spending 4 years with Coach Sloan, I think there are times where I know what he's about to call, and there are times I think that he knows what I want him to call, and so having that relationship is special and something I look forward to. I'm super excited for Juwan. He's done a lot of different things. He moved into the quarterback room, and he's been moving around, and so super proud of him, the way he's attacked each opportunity, and I think you'll see a lot of different things, a lot of different ways for him to get the football, a lot of different opportunities, and I think he's ready for it. For one, I think what he means by that is, one, just being a leader, representing LSU, representing my teammates the right way, now representing 18 the correct way. But also, when you play football and you play quarterback at LSU, you got weapons. And so you'll always have them. You always, all the past quarterbacks have, and all the future quarterbacks will. And so just being a a distributor of the football, giving the guys chance to make plays, putting the ball in playmakers' hands. So I think that's the biggest thing is just doing my job, doing my responsibility, and giving those guys chance to make plays. No, it's always been the same. I think for me, keeping the main thing. And I've been very open with companies and things like that about what my priorities are, and they're very well aware of what I'm focused on. I don't do things during the week. I don't compromise that. So I don't feel an extra responsibility at all. I think that's a totally separate thing, and it's an opportunity to step into an NIL world that has grown and has become something that I think is very special for athletes. And so I think it's totally separate. At the end of the day, I'm a football player. I'm a quarterback for the LSU Tigers. So. I mean, it's special, when you have two tight ends that are able to do so many different things, you can do a lot of different things. And so Bauer's a very special football player. His playmaking ability with the ball in his hand, he's able to go up and make plays. And so, just giving both of those guys opportunities, as we did last year with Trey Dez, I think you'll see the same type of thing with him and putting the ball in his hands, allowing him to make plays, and the same with Bauer. I think we have equal trust in both of those guys. And so anytime either of those guys has a one-on-one opportunity, they're winning. And so just giving those guys opportunities to make plays, as I've said before. And Chris's story has been really special. And I think he's had to overcome a lot of different things. He's had 2 injuries that cost him the season. And so I think Chris has fully grown into not only who he wanted to become as a player, but also as a man. I mean, as a leader. He's a SWAT leader. He does all the right things. He steps up. He's very a lot more outgoing than he was when he first got here. And I think Chris is bound for a big year. And I think also as a receiver, he's grown as well, just polishing the different things. I think when you have opportunities to step back and, you don't want to be hurt, but when you have that opportunity to step back and really just digest and kind of go into your game and fix things, it allows you to really be honest with yourself and make corrections and get better. And so I think Chris did an unbelievable job of that, just continuing to become a full package receiver. Yeah, I think the sky's the limit for Caden. He's an unbelievable player. And so we've been working hard on our run game and trying to make things better in that aspect. And so I think that, we're at a really good spot, and I'm looking forward to watching him and seeing what he's going to do. Well, it's the same for me. At the end of the day, my job is to help us win ball games. And it was the same for me last year, doing everything I can. And I think I've gotten better as a player, and I think that will handle the rest of it. But the expectation is the same for me. I always have a high expectation for myself and what I believe I can do. And so I don't think there's a change in that. I think one of the coolest things you've seen, and Coach Kelly mentioned in his press conference the other day, is the confidence that we have. We are walking around with the confidence, and I think it's because of the work that we put in. I think it's a true and it's a real confidence. We really have worked so much harder, I feel like, and not just saying we're working harder, but doing the correct things that lead us to being able to go 1-0. And, as you said, just walking around, seeing the 1-0 things around the building, and I think it's just constantly engraved in our brains right now that we have full confidence that we're going to go out there and handle business.